Hi, this is Dr. Mark Sell and Dr. Donald Mars. So we had an interruption. This is a continuation of the 68th video YouTube talk on therapy for the heart. So sorry for the interruption. I had to go to the door and take care of something. So we're back again, and this will be part 2 of the 68th talk. You were talking about they didn't mean it intentionally, but they didn't have empathy for was it the son?
Yeah,
They didn't have empathy. So where do we get empathy? How come they didn't have it? And I think that has a lot to do. We're talking about self-esteem. It's a lot to do with how we are nurtured in life.
Yeah.
And we've had many videos on the podcast and YouTube about the bad start that a child has if they have insecure attachments. We've talked a lot about that on the podcast and the video. So if you have an insecure attachment, they've proved that with 4-month videos of 4-month infants 4-month-old, that they can predict dysfunction by looking at the mother and child interaction at year 1.
You know, maybe it's even unfair. I'm thinking about this to say maybe they didn't have empathy. You know, that's possible. That's possible.
Maybe they had a limitation in their empathy.
Okay.
Not that they didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah. So they were limited in their ability to see and understand why this person would feel bad about the expectation of being able to do something that they were not be able to do.
Well, contrary to these parents' beliefs.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm laughing as I'm thinking of Al Pacino in the movie Scent of a Woman, where he's driving a car through a city quickly.
Yeah.
You know, not doable. That's crazy stuff. I mean.
Right. So when we're talking about self-esteem, the roots go back.
Go way back. Yeah.
And it's really how confident. Well, confidence is a little different than self-esteem. Confidence is like you trust in your abilities to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Self-esteem is a little different, but self-esteem is that you feel you have self-love. You love yourself.
Yeah.
You
feel good about yourself.
You feel
positive about yourself.
Yes.
You know that you're loved and cared about.
Yeah, so
you're
that's
worthwhile.
So that's what we mean about self-esteem.
You're worthwhile.
And why
and
yes,
you feel loved.
And like the Groucho Marx.
Right.
You believe when somebody says, "I want you" or "like you" or "I want you to join my club." You believe that that's true because you see.
And you feel you belong there.
You belong. That's right. So
you feel you belong there.
That's what we frame these YouTube videos and also the podcasts with 2 quotes, and one of them is joy to be hidden and disaster not to be found. And the reason why people are afraid of being found is that they feel that when they're found, they're not going to be liked. So a lot of us here, Donald and myself, are talking about. That's why we frame this, because the other quote is with the heart that one sees rightly. What's invisible what's essential is invisible to the eye. So we're talking about love. We're talking about hiding and being able to hide, because sometimes we have to help patients hide, especially if they have low self-esteem, because when they're coming into therapy, they might, as one woman wrote in, she said, "I like this talk because you said it was okay to hide." She didn't feel she had a permission to hide. And could be that when she was young, she had a secret and it was forced out of her, or she scolded, so these are beautiful frames. I think since I've been making these videos in 2012, joy to be hidden and disaster not to be found. So what we're trying to do is gradually help people find themselves when they have this when we're helping them build up the self and self-love and confidence through therapy. But until we have that somewhat built up in a foundation, when we talk to somebody, we may say the wrong thing, and they're not meaning it, unintentional. They could take it very, very hurtful.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and the extremes of this are really just quite remarkable. I'm thinking about this kayaker, this the male kayaker. He was going to risk his life to go kayaking down this 120 odd mile strip of land, maybe it was a little less. The distance doesn't matter, but he was going to kayak down this really difficult and dangerous, risking his life. For what reason? To prove what? To show what? That his parents are right? To show that he is as good as his parents want him to be? What makes him doubt it? Why would he need to prove it? To risk his life doing it?
Yeah.
It's a profound statement. I mean, it took my breath away when I'm listening to these people talking on TV. It was making me crazy thinking, yeah, you meant well, but look what happened to your kid.
You know, did you ever see the movie Black Swan? I don't. It was a very, very.
No, but I've heard about it. But
Well, in this movie, and I think it really depicts the struggle between some, daughters and their mothers. You could reverse it and say sons and fathers, but this is about a ballerina, and her mother was so insistent that she be a ballerina.
oh,
So insistent, and so the daughter didn't have a choice, really. She didn't have a choice. One side, if she wasn't perfect, and it's not just good ballerina, it's perfect, then her mother she would be disappointing her mother. Yeah. So how she resolved that in the movie, it was a compromise formation. In the end, she did a perfect performance, but she killed herself.
I'm gonna say then killed herself.
And she killed herself. She fell on something. Yeah. And I think that's not so unusual. I was working with somebody whose father insisted that she get a PhD. Insisted. She couldn't say no to him. So when she got the PhD, she spit on it.
Jesus.
So that is some assertion to him, but it really isn't, because it's her PhD, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
So here she was with a great PhD, and she couldn't let it mean anything to her. Her impulse to hurt him overcame her ability to enjoy what she did, and that's pretty not atypical.
You know, I met a psychologist one time who was a professor at a rather prestigious college in New York, who quit teaching, was a PhD, and opened up his own business of mowing lawns. He said he enjoyed that more, and we became somewhat friendly because we were in the same basic area at times. And I remember going to his home one time, and hanging in his bathroom was his PhD.
Yeah.
In his bathroom.
Some symbol, huh?
Right.
Symbolic, yeah.
Saying something loud and profound.
Yeah.
Where he hung up his PhD.
It's a piece of shit.
He also killed himself.
Yeah. See, these are so deep.
Yes. Profound.
The hurts and what people will go to. You know, we did a talk down here. I'm down here now. I'm on the couch. I was standing up at the time. I don't know what down here means. What does down here mean? At this location or down there in the village? I don't know. But anyway, we did a talk.
I did
a talk. So, and it was about regrets. And it was bouncing off a nurse who was working in a place where people were dying. And she did a survey of people who and she asked them what their regrets were. And the primary regret was that I didn't do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I did what people told me to do.
Yeah.
And the second regret was I didn't express my feelings. So I'm thinking about what we're talking about in terms of the audience listening. And what you could take from this is that if you are caught up with something like this with your children, in whatever manner or form, shape, you could think about that. And I didn't express my feelings. So you could think about that regret. And one thing you could do with your children, if they're caught in this dynamic with you, is work with them so they have the freedom to say everything to you, particularly if it's an objection or a criticism. And also you can think of yourself as, is this something that you were brought up with and that you might be trying to work out, with your children? But there is something that's very important about these impulses to express our feelings, which is very important. Emotions, our emotions, is what this is all about. The YouTube is the role of the emotions in life, how complex that is.
I'm always struck by so many parents who say, I remember what my parents did to me. I never want to do that to my kids. And yet they do.
Yes. And then when they have children, and they're astounded that they're yelling at their children the same way. Yeah, well,
behaving the same manner, the same hurtful manner that they did not want to. So, it's not conscious. It's generation after generation.
And then that's why it's helpful if we can have people in couple therapy before they have children. They become unconscious or conscious of what's in them, so they'll be less apt to behave like their parents. That's hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, many people who want to have children do not think about this first and don't want to deal with any of this stuff beforehand. They're captured by a fantasy of that a baby is going to make life better and make life easier, and it's a Disney kind of representation. And the reality is that I never saw any couple who had any kind of a conflict that didn't have conflicts intensified, made much worse by having a baby.
Right.
Babies cause tremendous stress in the family and cause for huge changes in behavior and in your feelings. Suddenly now you're not only yourself, you're doing something for somebody else. And sometimes they just have trouble doing it.
And the sex stops.
Sex
usually
stops.
When the children come into the picture.
And just,
the husband often might feel left out or ignored, and the wife then is upset because the sex diminishes.
Yeah, she may not feel as attractive anymore. He may not feel sexual anymore.
Right.
They both might be too tired. So there's all kinds of issues that get and kids do not make life easier. That's a very Pollyanna and Walt Disney kind of an ending. It's a wonderful experience ultimately, but it can really play havoc also with the family, particularly families who are in conflict or having trouble.
And most are.
Most are.
When I think of children, and probably some people that are listening right now might be tired of mentioning Cecil, but I'm going to continue to mention it, and primarily because I don't think you can't. It's good to remember that this mother had such courage to bring her child to therapy, 8-month-old Cecil.
Great courage.
And when she went there, she thought that the problem was that Cecil wasn't responding to her appropriately. That's what she thought. She wasn't getting that responsiveness. And while in therapy there, and they're watching the videos, they discovered that little history of the mother, that Cecil was impassive, but only because he was trying to come down by her attention all the time and trying to get him to talk or getting to play. He needed to avert his gaze from her, because when children are that young, they need to calm down when they get excited. So they need to look away. It's called diversion of the gaze. Look away to settle down. She interpreted that as rejection. And also what she did was, what they found was that she was seeing her mother's impassive face. It was a huge transference. And so once she recognized that, she could withdraw, not go after her as much. She said, I fell in love with Cecil.
Yeah. And what you said was also really on the nose. What she first said it was Cecil. So she could, by by pointing at the baby. Baby's responsible, not me. Something's wrong
Yes.
with this person, not me, not
That's
me.
what she was doing, yeah.
Right. That's why that could enable her to come in.
That's right.
Because it's not me. I'm fine. It's this person here that this 8-month-old. There's something wrong with this 8-month-old.
And if
And
she didn't,
but she could tolerate, it changing around like that. That's
yes.
speaks well of her.
And if she didn't see that, bring him into therapy, he would have continued to blame himself
Hmm.
for the lack of being able to connect with her if she
Right.
never went into therapy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And that's the beginning of it.
yeah.
That's where it starts. So I can't connect with my mother. I can't connect with people. And how do I do that? Why is this happening to me? I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that.
Hmm.
And that's the beginning. That's where it all starts. That's when the snowball starts to roll down the hill.
Right.
And once it's rolling, it doesn't stop so easy.
No,
It
not
requires
unless
work.
you go for help like
Right,
she did.
it requires work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Dr. Mark and Dr. Donald, and we're going to have to wrap up this talk for today. I hope that you found it helpful, and I think we'll continue with this talk the next time because I would like to talk and with you, Donald, about how therapy can help in terms of what somebody's going to come into therapy and they're going to have this problem. So what do we do in order to help with self-esteem problems? So how about that as a
Fine.
subject next time?
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
A deal?
Deal.
Deal.
Easy. Easy.
All right,
Easy
so
deal.
we're going to sign off, and please, if you like the channel, you can press the like button on your computer or wherever that is, and press it like, and you can also subscribe to the channel. If you have a Gmail account, you can make a comment, and we'll be here next time, approximately a week from today, and we'll be happy to try to continue this discussion. We will discussion, not try to. We will continue it.
Hmm.
So that's it. So signing off for the YouTube channel Therapy for the Heart, the 68th podcast. Right. So, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.